Hi, I'm Esther Avant. Rich and I recently had an awesome chat here on the podcast. I'd love for you to check out my podcast, To Your Health. With over 350 episodes, it's all about helping you stop starting over and finally follow through on your goals, starting with your health. You can find it wherever you're listening now.
Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch
It's probably the least sexy part of the organizing. That's okay. No. The truth is...
So what if the solution to crisis response isn't more force, but more humanity? On today's episode of Conversations with Rich Bennett, we're joined by Joe Smarro, a Marine Corps combat veteran turned nationally recognized mental health advocate. You might know him from Emmy-winning documentary Ernie and Joe, Crisis Cops, or his unforgettable TEDx talk, I See You. But behind the uniform and accolades is a man on a mission to revolutionize public safety through compassion, courage, and connection. Joe's going to share his gripping journey from battlefield to beat and why he walked away from the badge to build SolutionPoint Plus, a movement dedicated to mental health training and suicide prevention for first responders. We'll unpack the real-life lessons in his book, Unarmed, explore the future of policing with empathy at the center, and hear how his work is reshaping communities nationwide. This isn't just about law enforcement. This is about how we treat each other when it matters most. First of all, it's always an honor to talk to a brother. So Semper Fi, Joe, and welcome to the show, man.
Semper Fi, brother. It's great to be here, Rich. I appreciate it. Excited about the conversation for sure.
Look, anytime I get a brother on, I got to ask, why the Marine Corps? What made you decide you wanted to be the best, the elite?
Yeah. So probably not the most sexy story, but my father was in the Navy, and clearly as a teenager, I couldn't follow his footsteps because, what does dad know? Right. And there was really no guidance about it. And truth be told, and I'm happy to get into this, but the only reason I joined the military at all was because my best friend in high school at the time was he was in the delayed entry program. Mm-hmm. And being from upstate New York, it wasn't like I'm in San Antonio. It's Military City, USA. A healthy percentage of every graduating class goes to the military. But like it was a big deal. Like I don't think anyone else from our class joined the military that I recall, maybe one other. But so he was in the delayed entry program, and he got the recruiter to come talk to me. And just sold me the dream, told me that the Marine Corps has a soccer team, which is what I wanted to do, is go play soccer in college. And so I don't want to give away the spoiler yet, but I know it's going to come up naturally in our conversation. But there was a need for me to like do something right after high school. And so, yeah, the recruiter did a phenomenal job. And it happened to be a Marine Corps recruiter that came in. So, and this was in 2000. So it was pre 9/11. It was much easier sell for sure. And, but yeah, I agreed to it 4 days after graduating high school. I was on the footprints down in Parris Island, and I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? Yeah, it was the best and worst times of life for sure.
Would you do it over again?
Knowing what I know now, that's a tough, man. The military for sure. Yeah. I think knowing what I know now, and again, I'm proud that I was in the Marine Corps. As you said, it's the elite. It's the best of the best. Every branch knows that. They just might not acknowledge it. But I think just with the wisdom that I have right now, I would probably choose like the Space Force if I could, honestly, only because I
Yeah.
see those skills as the most transferable to getting a really healthy paying job after a 4-year or 5-year stint.
Yeah.
The Marines is great if you want to be a knuckle dragger your whole life and just, just kind of have the grunt mindset and figure things out. I see problem, I fix problem. But yeah, I think, intellect and again, to the point you made at your intro, Rich, like I genuinely care about compassion and humanity. I didn't learn that from the Marine Corps. Like,
oh no,
yeah, like love your brother and like keep them alive. But there was no like genuine, other than survival, there was no real like depth to that and intimacy in those relationships. And so that to me is important now.
Yeah. What were you, 0311?
No. So that the Marine Corps recruiter did a great job. I said I wanted to play soccer. And
I didn't know there was an MOS for soccer.
Yeah, there isn't. And so he goes, well, you have to have a job. I'm like, I don't want a job. Like I'm 17. I don't want a job, man. Like I just want to play soccer. And he's like, all right, I'll get you something easy. I said, okay, cool. He said, where do you want to be stationed? I was like, Northeast, where I'm from. He said, all right, do you want to deploy? I was like, never. So he goes, all right, so Northeast, non-deployable, easy job playing soccer. I was like, yes. So he's like, I got you, man. He drew up the contract and I go to boot camp. I find out that I'm going to be not an 03, but a 3-0, which is a 30-43. And I'm like, what is this? Oh, you're in supply. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Cool. But not only did they put me in supply, they put me in supply in what they call a Victor unit. So now I'm in an infantry unit as a 30-43 in Camp Horno with 1st Battalion, 4th Marines in Pendleton, which is not the Northeast.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, so I was in an infantry unit. I was a grunt with a credit card, truly. And so while we were home in States, I would do the open purchases, the contracts, buy the glint tape, the cami netting, all the stuff, the loopholed scopes for the snipers. And then whenever we deployed, we were like, I was in the invasion of Iraq in 03, and we were with the 1st Marine Division and pushed up. And so they took my credit card, gave me a rifle and said, go get some. And and so I did. But, and truth be told, I would have not agreed to that because, I was smart enough as a kid to realize like, yeah, I don't want to do like, I didn't enjoy camping and picnics outside. And like, so it just was like, no, I didn't want to be a grunt. So I would have never signed up for that. But the fact that I got to do it, I got to like play Marine, and then I got to also learn a skill about government contracts, budgeting, finance. So that actually helped me out. So I got a skill and something that I really could be proud of while war, I would say, shaped me, and not all for the better. It definitely like made life very difficult for me. I'm also incredibly grateful that I had the experience of combat.
One of the things I did notice before 9/11 happened, it seemed like for years, a lot of, and I'm not talking about just Marine Corps recruiters, I'm talking about recruiters in general. A lot of them were pushing, get the college education in the military, get the experience. And correct me if I'm wrong, because you were in it this time, but when 9/11 hit, a lot of people that were serving in the military were upset because they said they did not sign up for this shit when it was time for them to go overseas. Did you see a lot of that?
I won't say I saw a lot, but I saw some. And what was even more interesting to me, because again, I'll be honest, and you can call me coward if you want to, but
it's what you were promised.
Well, yeah, but when shit really popped off and we found out, okay, because we were scheduled for a routine Westpac 6-month deployment, January of 2002. Wow. And so when 9/11 happened, we found ourselves leaving in the end of October, November. So it was only a couple months early, but we realized like, oh, this is a very different mood now. And I remember I was like, yeah, I'm not excited about this, like getting sent over to Afghanistan at the time, which was our first deployment. I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel fun for me. But what was wild is my NCO, a guy by the name of Kendall Abernathy. He's from Amarillo, Texas. And he was my NCO. He was about to get out. And he was begging that, because he was like poster child Marine. And he was begging that they would let him extend just to go for the deployment. And they were like, well, no, you have to do a whole contract. He's like, yeah, I don't want to do a whole contract. I just want to go do one deployment, give me like a 1-year extension, I'll get out. And they're like, no. And I'm like, give him my spot. Like he can go for me if he wants. Like Jesus, if he's that motivated. And I'm a E1, E2 at the time, right? Like, and he's an E5, and I'm like, yeah, let him go, man. I don't care. Let this guy go. But so, and I did see some people that were, especially when we were over in Iraq, because now this was our second deployment, and Afghanistan, which was such a joke the first time, it was this whole weapons of mass destruction. Nothing was found. Bin Laden was obviously on the run, and we couldn't find him for years. And so then it was like, oh, we're going to switch to Saddam. Now Saddam is the guy. He's got these weapons, weren't finding the weapons. And now people are dying, and you're seeing carnage. And it's like, okay, I don't know that I understand what the hell the point of this is. Like, I get they hit our towers, but who and why? And this is like pure pandemonium now. And people were getting very frustrated. People were because again, it's information overwhelm. Like people that are just like patriotism, like for the country. And it's like, you don't even know what the hell that means. Like this, you're fighting a politician's warfare here.
Exactly.
And there's much more at stake than you can realize or appreciate. And so there's so much just like brainwashing, for lack of a better term, to just feel like, and again, people are going to take this out of context and whatever, and have a field day with it. But I just feel like a lot of people join out of necessity, because it's like, if I didn't join the military, then really what would I be doing and where would I be working? Right. But now that I'm in the military, suddenly I'm elevated to this like elite type status. Then I get deployed over to someone's country, and now I'm giving like some type of attention and accolades of like, I'm a hero. And it's like, well, like, are you really though? And again, some legitimately, yes, but not everyone. Like, I don't claim to be a hero. I was just over there trying to survive. And the first time I shot and killed an Iraqi soldier, I broke inside. I didn't like it. It wasn't fun for me. The fact that I was celebrated for it, like, really fucked me up, where I was like, yeah, man, I just want to go home. Like, this sucks, man. Being shot at, having explosions happen around you, seeing people die. This is not fun. And I don't feel like, hoorah, America. I feel like, no, we're going to freaking die out here, and I just want to go home. And that's the truth of it for me. And so, yeah, I mean, people have a different experience, I'm sure, but that's mine.
Well, which brings me to this point, because you're a combat veteran, and when you got out, you decided to join the police department, which to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, this is what I believe. When it comes to the police, they're at war all the time. And again, you mentioned, and it's true, with the military, it's always a political war that we're in. But it seems like, and especially lately with the police, it was a political war as well. Your hands are tied. What made you decide to, when you got out, to join the police department?
Yeah. So, and I'm happy to have this conversation, Rich. I would disagree that our police are not at war all the time. Our policing in America is 95% boredom and 5% excitement that the media loves to jump on the backs of and catastrophize. And so do some police.
I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, now I did it for 15 years, not 30, but again, that's a good enough sample to know. And in the 7th largest city. Now, again, I promise you, it's very different in places like Chicago. Now, if you're a cop in the south side of Chicago, yeah, you're running and gunning daily for sure. People don't realize the average police size in America is about 10 cops. There's 18,000 police departments in this country. Most of them don't have more than 20 officers, but we tend to immediately think of like NYPD at 36,000, Chicago, LA, even San Antonio, Houston. Houston has about 5,000 cops. Our department has about 2,400 officers, and we're the 12th largest police department in the country. Wow. And I would say that while San Antonio they wouldn't admit to this, because we make, 80% of our revenue on tourism. Like, this isn't a super incredibly safe city. There's a lot of crime that's happening. It's only gotten worse over the last decade for sure. Right. And 95% of policing is still boredom. And so I appreciate that you said that line of like, cops are at war constantly, because that is the general consensus from a lot of people is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it must be so dangerous. All that. No, it's not. It really is not. Like most police officers' entire day, the danger is in their mind. Now, granted, every traffic stop has a potential to be dangerous.
Right.
Every 911 call has a potential to be dangerous, but most of them are not. And this is the conflicting ideas that we have is cops believe every call is dangerous because we're at war. The citizens are like, oh my God, the cops are bringing warfare to us. So we must then protect and defend ourselves. And we have so much friction because we're not humanizing either side of this.
Mm-hmm.
Citizens are struggling to humanize the police are struggling to humanize the people. And again, I think that media plays a very dangerous role in exacerbating both sides of this. And it is both sides because, again, the police are not, clean from any blame in this either because of the way we train, the way we think, the way we talk, the way we act. A lot of this stuff we definitely play into this as well. Now, to the other part of your question, the only reason, like many military people that get out, like veterans, the reason I joined the police department was because of need. Like, what else am I going to do? I'm 22. I didn't have a college degree at the time. I don't have any real skills except like don't die. And I really like the fact that I get paid on the 1st and 15th, and I have health insurance to take care of my kids. So, okay, what else is going to do that for me? Public safety. And it's just a natural leap to go from the military to public safety, whether it's police, it's fire, it's EMS, it's corrections. And so that's what I did. It was just path of least resistance. And so I applied and got in. And my first year, I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Then I had a terrible situation where I had an in-custody death because of excited delirium back when that used to be allowed and was medically acceptable. And that was 364 days into my policing career, which set me into a dark, dark place.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I went to CIT training, which is the 40-hour crisis intervention team training, that's when I was like, whoa, this is what police work should be. Like, this is just learning about people, like actually helping them out. Like, this is why I got into this. Not like people are running from the cops. Very rarely are they bringing the fight to the cops. Now, again, I know there's madness happening right now in our country and everyone's holding the line, as they say, and we've got protests and riots and everything else going on as of the recording of this in the end of June. So not sure when you're airing, but yes, no, we're mid-June. And just to timestamp this is, there's a lot of tension right now in our country, and there's a lot of friction between first responders, public safety, government, and community, and a lot of weaponization of each sides and all sides of it, and it's a problem.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, and this is something that I want to go back to the Marine Corps a minute, and then also, and actually combine it in. When you got out of the Marine Corps, now I know this wasn't around when I got out. Was there anything in place in the military to help you adapt to going back to becoming a civilian? Because it's hard. When you do that, if there's nobody, I'm talking about for your mental health, if there's nothing there to help you adapt to get back into civilian world, it's tough to do. Was there something in place in the Marine Corps at that time, and then advance even into the police department? Was there something when you got out to adapt?
Yeah. So the politically correct answer is yes. I think it's called TAPS. It's the Transition Assistance Program. And
yes.
Yeah. So that exists, and it's a quick training of like how to write a resume. But you brought up mental health. Absolutely not. Now, again, I got out in 2004. I'm aware that, and again, this is why my response to your question about would I do it again, there's a lot of layers to this because I feel like the Air Force, for example, does a really good job of preparing the transitioning service member, even to the point where they will get them service connected if they qualify before they get out. Yeah. They'll make sure they have everything set up in line for them for their disability stuff, for education. When I left, I'm still to this day, because I'm service connected disabled, and there's still benefits that I'm learning about as of like last month. And I've been out now for 20 years. So the program, I'm not familiar with it as it is today. Maybe it's gotten more robust. I would still struggle to believe, especially in the Marine Corps, that they do anywhere near enough on the mental health side of preparing that transition. And it goes beyond too of like just on the PTSD and trauma side of this, but even with the like purpose, right? Like in the military, you really believe, even if you're struggling with clarity, you believe you have a purpose. You believe that there's camaraderie. You believe that like truly, and again, I'm not trying to ruffle feathers, but like in the military, you don't see race. Like we're all green in the Marine Corps. Yeah. Like, we're all green and we love each other because of the uniform we wear, what we represent. Like we're Americans, we are all in this together. Once you get on the other side of that, like you quickly realize like that is just not the way the United States of America operates on the civilian side. Everything is highlighted in differences. You see everything very different. You're treated based on how you are, who you know, what you look like, what you have, what you don't have. And so then it very quickly becomes like a classification system. Whereas in the military, like, yeah, it's based on rank. But even then, like there's this family style love and cohesion that I just don't know that there's any corporation or company, and for sure not in the public safety. Like police departments would love to say that they mimic the military and its family. It's not. It's cutthroat. No. It is brutal. The greatest enemy of any public safety agency is the sworn members of that agency. They will turn on each other so quick and not have each other's back and gossip behind each other's back and hold each other out to dry. And it's horrible. And yeah, that's very different. And so I don't think there's a good enough job or enough emphasis placed on preparing the mindset for the realities that you're about to enter, and how to take care of yourself, like truly how to take care of yourself beyond like, go get a therapist. I'm an advocate for that, but that's not enough for everybody. And we really need the skills and the insights to know how to help ourselves.
With the mental health part, because you're a mental health advocate, what made you decide to, become an advocate for that?
Yeah, I guess being a consumer myself, and even before I knew I was, right? So when I went through the crisis intervention training, the training really hit home for me where I was like, okay, this feels like what we should be doing. So then I started treating people different. Then we started a mental health unit. It was a pilot program, and then it became a full-time when it went to a full-time unit, which was just 4 officers. I applied and was fortunate to get selected. And so right away, every one of my calls was a mental health call. And I like rapidly developed a deep passion for the mental health community. And simultaneously, I recognized how much of a hypocrite I was because now the story is a bit disjointed. So let me, if you don't mind, Rich, let me do a high level background. So childhood, Joe Smarro, horrible, traumatic life, father's in the Navy. He's on a deployment, married to my mom. She has an affair with another sailor. He's not only having an affair with my mom, but he starts molesting me. And I'm 7 years old. Right. So, I'm giving cliff notes, but, at some point, I make an outcry, it doesn't get received. And so then I try to set my bed on fire. I set my bed on fire. The fire department shows up, they put it out, and the fireman comes out. Now I have a belief that people are doing the best they can with what they have based on what they know.
Right. And
so no ill will to the fireman, but he came out real aggressive. It was my first introduction to the knife hand before I got in the Marine Corps, Rich.
Damn.
And so I'm 7, right? He comes out and he says, "Young man, if you ever start another fire again, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Do you understand me?" And I was like, whoa.
You were 7?
And I'm 7 and I'm making an outcry, right? And this is why we teach what we teach in my company is, all behavior is communication, focus on the person, not the problem. The goal is connection before correction. We have a whole model, a framework of de-escalation. Maybe it comes up later where because of this life experience. Now, because of that, my sister, who's 10 at the time, she calls our grandmother up in New York, my dad's mom. She calls my father. This is 1989. He flies home, finds out there's a whole hoopla. The family breaks up. We move up to New York. I didn't go to school my third grade year. I'm in therapy 3 days a week, in and out of court. And my dad, in about a 96-hour window or so, a 72-hour window, learned that his wife had an affair, his kid's been molested, he lost his military career. And so he became a raging alcoholic and violent towards me. And so then I endured like 8 years of physical abuse. And so I left home around 15, started living with friends, sleeping over at buddies' houses wherever I could. And then
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I promise we're getting towards the end. But my girlfriend, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, my junior year, her parents were like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but come stay with us for a while. I was like, all right, cool. So I didn't have a job. I played sports. I hated school because I didn't have any like parental love. I didn't have guidance.
Right.
I didn't have mentorship. Like I was just in survival mode. But I really wanted to thank her parents for giving me some stability. And so I was like, well, how can I thank them? Like, what could I give them? And then it hit me, Rich. I was like, oh, I know. I'm going to get their daughter pregnant.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, not ideal, Rich. I know. Not ideal. I don't recommend. In hindsight, they would have preferred the fruit basket. But my daughter is 25 now, and she's doing great. But that is the spoiler. That's why I joined the Marine Corps, because my senior year, I became a father. And the recruiter came in. He said, we got you, buddy. Housing, healthcare, don't worry. So I joined out of necessity. I joined the police department out of necessity. Mm-hmm. And so there's a theme here. Now, I have my childhood trauma experiences. I have my combat trauma experiences. I have my in custody death on the police department. And now I'm on the mental health unit. Well, for 8 years after that in custody death that I had my first year on, I went into a dark, dark place. I was acutely suicidal. And I'm not proud of this, but I'm grateful that my vice or my drug was never opiates or alcohol or anything that would have a criminal element. Good. But my vice was women. And I had a pornography addiction, and I turned to women to validate my very insecure self. And because I hated myself so much, and I tend to be funny or witty, I'd be married or have a girlfriend, and I'm like just being myself, and girls are like, oh my God, you're so funny. And I'm like, oh yeah, you want to touch it? And they would say yes, and I would get caught, and then I'd get divorced. So by the time I was 31, I had 3 divorces. I have 4 kids from 3 women. I'm paying over $3,000 a month in child support on a cop salary. Wow. And I'm on the mental health unit telling people in the community every day, if you just take your meds, if you just go see your doctor, if you just do XYZ, your life will be great. And I'm going home to an empty apartment, going through a divorce, addicted to pornography, drinking a 6-pack, trying to sleep. I was a shit show of a human being. And I own that. And it was 13 years ago now where I was like, okay, I am responsible for everything that's happening in my life. Everything is my fault. I have to take ownership, or nothing's going to change, or I just need to kill myself, because this is never going to get better. Right. And so I walked into the VA, and I've never stopped treatment ever since then. And that's why the advocacy, because the more I was showing up in this community, the more I saw myself, and the more I could see myself in them, the more I would see them in me. And then as I started helping myself and going to therapy and doing all these various treatment modalities, I was learning about the brain. I was learning about trauma, learning about internal family systems, learning about different things that happened in my life. And then I was like, yo, I am way better cop now, because I can help people at I'm not doing therapy. I'm not diagnosing, but there's like some, we'll call it street therapy on some level, where it's crisis work, right? And it's like, you're not looking for a therapist when you're at your worst moment. You need someone to connect with you and de-escalate the situation. And I'm really good at that because of the wild life that I've had, which I'm really grateful for. And I'll just end with this, Rich, which is a statement that I live by, which is I've learned to become grateful for the things I wish never happened. And it's when you can find gratitude in the things we wish didn't happen, especially when you're a victim to something, like, that sucks, and I'm sorry it happened. But when you can learn to find gratitude in it and purpose through it, man, there are so many people that you can help on the other side of that.
And you're doing that now.
Amen.
Holy cow, man. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's a heavy load to dump on you, brother. Yeah.
It is, but it reminds me of like when I talk to peer recovery specialists, especially that are, addiction peer recovery specialists. That's what it kind of reminds me of, because they've been through it So they're better at what they do, helping others that are in recovery.
Yep.
You've definitely been through it.
Right.
And here it is. You're definitely helping others. And you said the porn addiction, everything stopped, 13 years ago, you said?
Yeah. Well,
wow.
13 years ago is when I started my journey. It took me.
Okay.
Admittedly, I would say, because I still go now, like I still am engaged now, but it probably took me a solid 4 years to even start like turning the corner. There was a lot of resistance up front. There was a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of like, is this real? What is the point? But I kept going. I just kept going and kept going. And yeah, it just, it took me probably 4 years to get to the place where I'm like, all right. And now even still, why did I keep going for 9 years? Because to me, it's not a destination. Like it's never something that you just arrive at. It's like, no, this is an ongoing process and life is hard. I realized that maybe I wasn't given a full deck of cards in my own brain and mind. And so now it's like, how do I learn to leverage? Because if I don't have someone plugged in, like a therapist that I can truly go to and open up to, then I see how quickly I'll resort back to some of my old ways. And it doesn't feel good. And I don't like the consequences. And so, I am very intentional now.
You could, as they say in addiction, you could relapse.
Right.
And you definitely don't want to do that. And this is all because you decided to go to the VA.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because I mean, you think about it, how many veterans will not go to the VA or search out a VSO for help?
Yep. Many. And what I would, as someone that advocates, I tell people, listen, are you not going to the VA because you had a bad experience or because you heard of someone else that had a bad experience? So many people, in my experience, adopt their beliefs based on someone else's experience. And it's like, Rich, my buddy Rich, I've been friends with Rich Bennett now 16 years, and we're both veterans. He went to the VA back in 2007, and he told me it was horrible, so I refused to go. If that's how you live your life, you're going to have a pretty miserable life, I would imagine, because you're not allowing yourself to have your own experiences. Go try it for yourself, because here's the reality. The VA doesn't suck. There are some people in the VA that suck. Right. And there are some amazing people in the VA that are incredible. So it's just about person to person. Just as you can go to the best inpatient private pay, like the greatest facility in the country, I promise you they're going to have people there that you're not going to jive with either. So when you understand therapy as a relationship, it's not a location. And when you understand that it's like, this isn't everything, right? Like I can go to Starbucks and have a great experience, or I can catch someone on a bad day and they treat me terrible. If a Starbucks employee treats me shitty one day, I'm not going to boycott Starbucks. I'm going to say that person had a bad day and I might not go to that person, but I'm going to go to another Starbucks. Like, and too many people, it's like one bad thing happens and they're like, oh, never again. It's so black and white. And I'm like, yikes. Like, is that really how you want to live your life?
Yeah. They're the ones that don't believe in second chances.
Yeah. And I believe in the VA because the VA saved my life. And now I'll be honest, I don't go to the VA anymore for my mental health. I have a private one, but I still go to the VA for my medical stuff. And I will admit, it is a pain in the ass. On the medical side, they don't make anything easy. And I'm grateful to be covered and have medical coverage through them. But it's almost like, hey, you get free medical for your service connection, but we're going to make it super inconvenient. You have to call 3 people. You have to schedule one appointment to get another appointment with another appointment. And it's like, what a horribly inefficient system. But again, I don't blame the people for that. Right. And so I have a lot of grace and gratitude that I just even have access to care.
Well, and the other thing is too, and I'm bad at this because I still have never gone to the VA and I need to, especially since, I had to drink that good old French water from Camp Lejeune when I was in. But I've even had a VSO on before, and it's amazing the benefits that are out there that a lot of veterans don't even know about when it comes to this. Prime example is with you. I don't know if you were around the burn pits when you served.
Yeah. So actually, sadly, my lieutenant, while we were deployed, Jason Howard, he died probably 3 years ago now, but he had I think it's glioblastoma or glioblastoma, but it's this rare like brain tumor that's cancer in the brain, but they attributed it to the burn pits. And so, yes, very much. And I'm on that registry. I signed up for it because we were over there stirring shit.
Yeah.
JP5 fuel and all this, just burning our
like an everyday normal thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, it's like, one of the first things they tell you when you join the military, you're expendable. Expendable? Hell, we're freaking guinea pigs, man. That's the way I look at it. All right, so with the police department, you're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. Ever been caught off guard by a sudden heat wave or cold front? We've all been there. That's why I'm excited about our sponsor for this episode, EcoCool HVAC. Veteran-owned and rooted in Harford County, EcoCool HVAC is your go-to solution for all things heating and cooling. Whether you're battling summer's heat or winter's chill, they've got you covered with their top-notch heating and air conditioning services, and even pool heating solutions. Stephen Crodell and his qualified team ensure rapid response and meticulous attention to detail. It's not just about providing a service. It's about caring for the community. Their motto, when you call, they care, and they're there. If you need professional, reliable HVAC assistance, dial EcoCool HVAC at 443-324-9714. Again, that's 443-324-9714, or visit ecocoolhvac.com. Again, that's ecocoolhvac.com. Here's to comfort all year round, thanks to EcoCool HVAC. You co-founded the mental health unit, right?
I did not.
You didn't? Okay.
Nope. Yeah, Ernie and Willie did, two officers. They are the ones that have, if we're really honest, the chief is the one that ultimately founds anything. Like, it's his department.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they did advocate. Ernie and Willie advocated and pushed and got it approved. And so it was a 6-month pilot where they had to go prove the concept, and they grinded. They worked their ass off to get numbers and show like, this is important, this is needed. Mm-hmm. And once they did that, then the chief was like, okay, I will allow this to become and it wasn't even, if we're going to be really technical, they didn't like the word unit. They called us a detail because we were so small. Even though we said mental health unit, but yeah, it was just 4 of us when it first, officially started back in like December of 2009.
But it was very effective, wasn't it?
Very effective. Yes.
Original. What do you think made it so effective?
I think the fact that we were small allowed us to be nimble. We were officed out of our local mental health authority. We had incredible on-the-job training because we worked with the licensed clinicians at the crisis call center. So they would go out all day on these calls, and we would watch them do these assessments. We would watch them do their interventions. We would learn from them on the questions they would ask was like, why are they asking those types of questions? Like, that's weird. So it went beyond our training, which was great. And we did that for the first year. And then I think through saturation. So 100% of our calls were mental health related, where when I was on patrol, I would get a mental health call per day, but then I would also get everything else, right? Loud music, barking dogs, a robbery, a theft report, a domestic violence. So you're having to be everything all at once. But on the mental health unit, because it's all we did, we became really good at doing that thing really well. And then we were also a teaching unit. So we worked very closely with our stakeholders. We were in monthly meetings. We were learning the back end. So it allowed us to really understand both sides of this. We're going to advocate on behalf of the police department, but we also can appreciate the fact that some of these hospitals that are private, they operate on what's called a bottom line, and they have EBITDA, and they want to make sure that they're profitable or they're going to close business. And so it's they have to worry about generating revenue as well. Something I didn't care about as a cop. I'm like, no, I have a problem. You're the hospital, take my problem. But now as a business owner, I'm like, yeah, that's not the way the world works. Right. And so you have to make money if you're going to stay open. And a lot of cops didn't realize this or care about this. So we got really good at becoming the bridge between all of the treatment providers in the community and the police department. Now, again, none of that happens anymore, sadly. not at that level. They've gotten so far away from the original mission. I'm not a super fan of it, but I know that they're still, because the unit now is like over 40 people, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. And and they're doing so many different things. It's gotten far away from the core of the mission, far less training, no real engagement with the community stakeholders. They're not attending the meetings the way they used to. So it's just kind of, they've almost become isolationist in that sense of it's all in house now, and they're not as much collaborating with the providers as much anymore, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. And you said you were with the police department for 15 years?
Yeah.
All right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you left, that's when you started SolutionPoint Plus?
So I started it in 2017, 3 years before I left. So yeah, Jesse and I started it in January of 2017, and then I resigned in September of 2020.
Resigned from the police department?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you meant you resigned from SolutionPoint Plus.
No.
I was like, wait a minute,
That's
what?
my full-time jam.
Okay, so what made you decide to, finally walk away from the police department full-time and focus on SolutionPoint Plus?
Honest answer is 18 months of misery. The documentary that you brought up, Ernie and Joe, Crisis Cops, it was the best and worst thing to happen to me professionally.
Okay.
It was the best thing because it's a legacy thing. Like, there's a documentary that exists out there that I've shared with my children. My youngest, he was 13 last year, and we watched it and had great conversation because they never understood like what I did.
Yeah.
So the fact that like that will always exist and my kids can appreciate it and show their kids, and long after I'm gone, that still lives on film. I love that. It was 3 years of filming.
Wow.
I was mandated to be a part of it, but it ruined my career because the chief did not support it once it came out. And my full-time job truly was like dealing with the community. It was going to meetings. And as soon as this movie came out, it premiered at South by Southwest in Austin. It won an Audience Choice Award. Our brilliant filmmaker, Jen McShane, she was getting deals offers from, I think Apple and PBS and Netflix and HBO, and ultimately ended up going with HBO. But when HBO bought it from her, it was like it offended the chief of like, oh, these guys want to be movie stars. And I was like, first of all, I didn't want to be a part of this. I went through a divorce during it. I tried to advocate to get out of it. I didn't love the process of it. I didn't like what it did to my and Ernie's relationship because it really highlighted some things I wasn't a big fan of. Right. And so then I was like, this is not a fun experience for me. Again, I think Jen is amazing and what she put out is incredible, but the experience wasn't always fun. And there was no like compensation from the department, no overtime pay, no comp time, even though they're following me home. They're like, hey, we're going to ride home with you. We want you to make dinner tonight. I'm like, I don't want to make dinner. They're like, yeah, just make dinner. We're going to film it. I'm like, damn. So to deal with this for 3 years off and on, right? It wasn't daily, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
And then for it to come out and get punished and essentially, and this is from his leadership, by the way, that are like telling me in a bathroom, like, hey, Joe, we don't know what's going on, but we've been given like orders to not support this. We held screenings for him in the community. He put it on his calendar that he was going to be there. He ghosted all of them.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then I essentially was told like, just, you're not allowed to leave the office. Like any request that comes in for Joe to speak, deny it. And I was like, okay. So my therapist, who I still have, the great Dr. Davis, she's incredible. I remember one day I showed up and she goes, hey, how long are you going to show up to these sessions and just bitch about work? And I was like, oh, forever. And she's like, no, that is not an option. I'm like, well, I don't have an option because I can't retire for 5 more years. And she told me like deadpan. She's like, Joe, you're not going to make it 5 years. Like there's no way you're going to make it 5 years. Like you are miserable. Jesse, my best friend, was like, dude, I've never seen you this angry. Like you're pissed off all the time. You're mad. Like you've lost your sense of humor. You're just irritable. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this isn't fair. And he was like, yeah, we all agree. But I requested to go talk to the chief denied. I'm like, well, yeah, but he has an open door policy. They're like, nope, you can't go talk to him. I'm like, why? Nobody would give me answers. And then when I resigned, I thought, well, maybe I'll get an exit interview because when you resign, you're supposed to. A buddy of mine resigned like 2 months before me, and he got an exit interview with the chief. So I'm like, cool, I'll at least get that. And again, I am a very level-headed individual. I was never going to like throat punch this guy. Like I just wanted to talk to him like a dude and just ask him like, hey man, what was so threatening about this? Like, what did I do wrong? Help me understand why you're so upset about this. And, but no, even when I resigned, they were like, nope, you don't get to talk to the chief when you leave. And so I'm like, okay, so there is no love lost there. Like I love the San Antonio Police Department, the men and women that do the job well. I really, truly struggle with that chief, his horrific leadership, and the ones that just fall in line because they're so afraid to speak up. And the former assistant chief was the same. She used to be our boss. She was incredible. And then as soon as she became the assistant chief, she like lost her mind and forgot about every terrible thing she's done in her life. And so I was like, yeah, you guys just, this is the problem with the profession though. This is, in my opinion, why first responders kill themselves. It's because of, and again, our department, man, Rich, we had 3 in 18 months between 18 and 19. And then in 2021, we had 6 suicides in our department. And the chief
just in your department?
Just in our department. And the chief will get on camera and say, we have 100 resources, which is a true statement. He will never say, yeah, but no one's going to use them because they don't trust me and how poor of a leader I actually am to my agency. And so until we have leaders that are really willing to like step up and toe the line, this is going to continue to be a problem because, and as they say, like, I didn't leave my job. I left Chief McManus, just pure. And that's not like and here's the thing too, there's a line in my book, Rich, and while it is like kind of a poke in the eye and sarcasm, admittedly, I really believe this. And it's like, the line says, Chief McManus has no idea how often he makes my gratitude journal, because if he was a good leader, I would probably still be a police officer. And the reality is that I'm grateful that he is the way he is as a leader. Again, this has nothing to do with him as a man. I don't know him personally. Hell, I never got to have a conversation. That's not allowed, apparently. But as a leader, there's no respect. And so for me, it's like, because he was such a terrible leader, it forced me to do something I wouldn't have done otherwise. And so I left my job without a pension. But now, like, oh, baby, like the company go from just being a side hustle to now a 7-figure business to like really helping. Like my life is really good. And this would have either not happened or would have been delayed at least another 5 years if I still was a cop. And so I'm like, yeah, thank you for pushing me out. And I do give him credit, even though it's probably not the credit he would like.
Hey, you probably felt like a ton of bricks was lifted off your shoulders too.
Huge,
didn't you?
Huge. Oh man. Like, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Headaches gone. Like once you change your toxic environment, so much, like owning a business is stressful, but it's like stress I enjoy. This is like the Marine Corps stress now of like, oh, this is fun. I can problem solve. I can like grit through this. But when you feel helpless because you work in a hierarchy and you're 12 ranks below the top person, and the top person doesn't know who you are, never has a conversation with you, and yet treats you a certain way, there's nothing you can do. And as the saying goes, like, if you can't change a system, you got to change yourself. And so I just got to a place where I realized I could impact our profession. Like I love law enforcement. I don't love the amount of emotionally stunted men and poor leaders we have in the profession. And so I just realized that I could have a much greater impact on this profession if I leave my job more than I could if I stay in my job.
So, all right, with SolutionPoint Plus, explain to everybody everything that you guys do.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, quickly, is we operate at the intersection of public safety and behavioral healthcare. So our clients, while we used to provide just crisis intervention training, now that's in fact the least thing we do. We have our largest client is the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And then we also are in public transit in California. We have contracts up in Canada to train the First Nation Indigenous police services.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we we have worked in this great state of Iowa for the last 8 years on a monthly basis for the last 4. And then we've done train the trainer models for the Illinois State Police, for Shreveport. I do a bunch of keynotes. So knowing the market, here's how it typically works. Joe Smarro, I go do a keynote, a podcast, the TEDx, the book, the whatever. It's like the face, the voice of the brand. Right. And so I do a keynote. And then from there, it's like, oh, they learn about me, our style, our philosophies. And then they're like, yeah, I want training. Cool. So we have training. So we have 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and 5 day offers. We have a 1 day basic de-escalation, a 2 day intermediate de-escalation, and a 3 day advanced de-escalation training. We have a 2 day training for dispatchers and telecommunicators. We have a 2 day training called the Michelle White Child and Adolescent Mental Health and De-escalation training for school resource officers and school-based personnel. We're starting to get more into the education space. We work in healthcare. We've trained the security officers and nursing staff at emergency departments. As I mentioned, public transit. We're up in San Jose in Santa Clara County in Northern California, training all of their bus operators and light rail workers. And then my favorite training of all is X Factor, which is a 2 day. It's called X Factor Mental Wellness and Resiliency. That is essentially, while we don't call it a suicide prevention training, that's exactly what it is. It really is our flagship training. While it's only 2 days, it's been our most effective for the biggest return on like life savings that I've ever seen. And really how that training is framed up is like day one is the problem. We talk about culture, training, the issues that have created to get to where we are. And then all day 2 is solution. And we give mind management techniques and frameworks. We talk about 6 pillars of self-care, positive psychology. There's activities. We do group work talking about resilience, but it's not like any other training that any first responder has ever been to, I assure you, because we've done it for a little over 3,500 first responders have gone through it in the last year and a half. And collectively, they've said it's not like any training they've ever been through. So wow, you start to believe it at some point. And so, yeah, that's mainly what our trainings are. And again, if you just go to SolutionPointPlus.com, all spelled out, it's all of our offerings are on the website.
All right. There's a couple other things I want to hit on real quick.
Sure.
The book.
Yep.
Unarmed. First of all, I think I know the answer. Everybody listening probably already does. Why did you decide to write it?
Yeah. So I wrote it because I was pushed by a mentor that said, as a small business owner, a book is an oversized business card. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. The second reason is I realized that in running a business, the biggest problem with people accessing us is that because we are a business, public safety tends to not have a lot of money. So as soon as someone reaches out and they're like, this is amazing, we want to bring you out and do a training, we're like, all right, cool. And then we're like, okay, this is what the training costs. And they're like, oh, well, we can't buy that. All right. Well, I don't like that response. And again, I get it, but I don't like it. And so then it's like, so then we just can't help you because your department doesn't have the money for this. So then this was for like, okay, well, do you have, I don't know, $19 or whatever it is on Amazon? Because if you're willing to spend $20 to get this book, I assure you it will help you. Why? Because so much of our training is put into this book. It has de-escalation tenets in the book. It has our wellness and resiliency training in the book. It's got the suicide. Chapter 7 is called Worthy of Tomorrow. We give you our, what we call the SP Plus triangle of how to do an assessment. That's in the book. So I basically took key components of each one of our trainings and put it all in this book so that so it's 2 reasons. If you do go through our training, this book is going to act as an excellent refresher or a resource for you to stay fresh.
Guidebook.
Yeah, it's a guide. Second is if you can't go through our training because your department can't afford it or your city won't pay for it, whatever it is, now you can buy this and just learn the skills yourself. And what's really generous is we have some online courses as well. And they range from $47 to $97. But what I did is if you buy this book for $19 or $20, there's a QR code right on like the first or second page. And if you scan that QR code, it takes you directly right to our active listening, effective communication and active listening course, which is a $97 course for free. It just gives it to you.
Really?
Yeah. So look, I'm not trying to get rich on the book. I really want people to learn the skills, and I would love for people to buy it for sure. And yeah, because I think you're going to learn something from it. And I made sure that it was worth your money, because you're essentially getting a $97 offer for buying the book at $20.
Now, it sounds like this book is basically for, I want to say, anybody.
Funny you say that. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite things. Is I had this guy. He's a local here in the Shirt Cibolo area. Prominent member at the Chamber of Commerce, but he owns these mechanic shops. Right.
Okay.
He's a car mechanic, and he's a blue collar, smart businessman. But he's known my wife for a couple years now, and she goes to the chamber a lot. And so when I was releasing the book last year, to kind of support her husband, he was like, yeah, I'll go on this like webinar you're doing and I'll buy the book. And he bought the Kindle, and he said he was like, I don't know, he was in New Mexico or Arizona hiking without service, had his Kindle. And he said he was just one day like, let me just see what this is. But he's like, for sure, I thought it was going to be a book only for cops. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and I read it, and I couldn't put it down. And it's not long. It's like 140 something pages. It's a really easy read. And because it really is like me speaking and then just getting it transcribed and edited. So it's just me talking.
Right.
But so he said, I couldn't put it down. And then he goes, and this was like some of the best feedback, but he goes, this was the best book on communication that I've ever read. And it was so good that I went and bought more copies, and I put it in each of my auto body shops, and I'm making my mechanics read the book because they deal with customers. And so to your question, yes, like this, I've had parents that have nothing to do with public safety read this and appreciate the skills that are in it so that they can better resonate or connect with their family or understand what's happening with their children. So there really is unlimited use case, because we're essentially talking about the mind. We're talking about human behavior, talking about challenging your belief systems, just talking about a lot of the stuff that I've kind of talked about on this podcast, even of like some of these mindsets about focus on the person, not the problem, mm-hmm. Asking yourself like what else could be true, not getting stuck in habitual thinking. So a lot of those insights are in the book. And again, I am biased, obviously, but I think there's a lot of value in it.
Do you think do you think this is something that, I definitely think it should be, but do you think your book would help if it was even in the libraries of, say, high schools?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, no. And I've donated a lot to libraries, like even in the prisons, right? Like I've given a lot within the prisons, put it in their libraries, both for staff and not, Yeah, I think like a high schooler reading this, like I gave it, my son just graduated high school a couple weeks ago. I told him like, hey man, I'd like for you to read this. Like there's just good life skills in it, and just different ways of thinking about things.
So those of you listening, a couple things. Number one, go to unarmedbook.com. Make sure you purchase a copy. After you read it, leave a full review, whether it be on Goodreads, Amazon, wherever you can leave reviews. But I also want you to buy copies for friends of yours. If you own a business, buy it for your employees. Buy it for people you know. Buy some and donate them to some local nonprofits, especially the ones for mental health, addiction, and so forth. Also, go to SolutionPointPlus.com, because there's great courses. And if you need Joe and his team, that's where you find them. Or you could also go to joesmarro.com, and I'll have all the links in the show notes. I want to talk to you about the podcast real quick.
Let's do it.
Why did you decide to start a podcast as hard as it is, man?
Yeah. It's funny. Jesse and I actually started this back when we were police officers. And I really don't want people to think that I'm coming off as like whiny or entitled, but these are true stories. We started the podcast when we were cops, and we were called into the lieutenant's office one day. Now, mind you, we had approval through PIO, the Public Information Office. We did everything above board. We followed the general manual. We got approval. We started the podcast. We had maybe 5 or 6 episodes. We get called in the lieutenant's office one day, said, "Hey, the chief said you got to shut down the podcast." I'm like, "Why?"
What?
He's like, "I have no idea. He told us to have you shut it down." And I'm like, what did I ever do to this man? And I remember telling the lieutenant, I'm like, I said, "Hey, isn't this," because first of all, we had permission. Second of all, we're not representing the San Antonio Police Department. We don't talk about the San Antonio Police Department. And so what is it that, like, what are we violating? And does this not fall under like a First Amendment constitutional right?
Yeah.
And he laughed at me and said, "Joe, when you became a San Antonio police officer, you gave up your constitutional rights." And I was like, "Oh, I had no idea. Like, I didn't know that I signed that." So yeah, like that's the culture in a lot of places. And so it was like, all right, well, so we shut it down because they said, "Hey, if you don't shut down your podcast, we're going to revoke your work permit, which is for SolutionPoint Plus, and we're going to take away your right to have a side job as well." So we canceled the podcast, and then we just got so busy with the business. Now, why did we relaunch? Because now I'm in a season where for the first time, we've got a great team. I've got 11 people working with the company right now. And we've got to a place where I'm starting to be home more because I was on the road 25 days a month for the last 4 years.
Wow.
For the last 5 years, I've been on the road 20 to 25 days a month. And now that I'm home a little bit more, it's like, okay, how can I, because we've done no marketing. Like we've done no marketing.
Right.
And so now a podcast is just a great marketing technique because people listen to podcasts in the cars when they're running, driving, whatever. And so it was just another vertical for me to get my voice out there again, to talk about the book, to talk to interesting people. And and it's called Truly Mental. And we're actually, where it used to be just me and Jesse talking to one another, now we're interviewing guests. And so Jesse and I rotate and we'll take turns interviewing different guests. And we've already got our whole year in the pipeline now. We're going to do an episode a week, but we've got like 60 episodes just sitting in the hopper. So now it's just a matter of prioritizing them to get them out. But it's been fun. And the funnest part, and you know this, Rich, because you're doing it, is you never know who you're going to meet. You have some really fascinating conversations. I love learning. And I think, life is a library. And so you're learning from people and it challenges your perspective. It gets you to think differently. And I love that. So it's been a really, really fun journey for me as well.
Oh, I love it too. And if you would have, and I've said this before, 10 years ago when I started this, if somebody would have said, why don't you, do you think it'll keep going on? It's like, no, because I'll be honest with you, I really didn't like talking to people. I don't want to say that, interviewing people. Because when I was in radio, I was a music DJ. I didn't interview people.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like that. I like playing the music.
But 10 years, Rich?
We've been doing it for 10 years. And
congrats.
I wouldn't change. We went from once a month to now I'm dropping 3 episodes a week. I have some people want me to drop an episode every day. I was like, no.
Good for you, brother.
It is. And I do everything.
Yeah.
I do the editing. I book the guest. It's a lot of hard work, but I love it because I learned so much. And then, you see the green curtain behind me. That's because I'm remodeling.
Yeah.
Once I'm done and it's going to be nothing but bookshelves. And all of the guests I've had on that written books, that's what's going to be my background.
Love it.
And I just,
Well, make sure you connect with me. I'm going to send you a signed one for free, brother.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yep. But no, I love it. All right. So, Joe, before I get to my last question, which we have no idea what it's going to be, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I mean, just grateful for sharing your audience with me. Congrats on your success of 10 years. That's awesome.
Well, thanks.
And then, I guess just one thing is, for anyone, because I don't know traditionally who your audience is, but just getting to talk to you, I can make some assumptions. Is I just want to say that if you find yourself right now like overwhelmed, stressed out, burnt out, any level of discomfort in the area of like overwhelm and stress, then like don't forget to breathe, like actually be intentional and breathe. And then slow down and ask yourself, like, what are you focusing on?
Yes.
because you become what you consume. And so maybe get off the social medias and get off the media and focus on the thing, like create the reality you actually want to exist. And I really believe we live in a beautiful, beautiful place. You just got to go look for it. And it's not that hard. And I see so much collective suffering right now. And anytime you turn on the TV or pick up your phone, you're inundated with stress and doom and gloom. And all I have to do is like walk outside, and it's very easy for me to pick up on warmth, a breeze, a bird, just beauty that surrounds us. And so don't lose sight of that, and don't take for granted what is given to us freely, which is life. And remember that you're all worthy of love and you deserve love. And while I don't know you, I love you all. And I appreciate your time for sure.
You meditate a lot, don't you?
I meditate a lot. I do a lot
awesome.
of thinking, and I call it thinkitating. But yes, I sit within myself a lot.
I like that. I'm going to have to steal that word. With everything that I went through, meditating definitely helps my mental health a lot. And I have a funny feeling and this is not my last question, but I have a funny feeling when I ask you this, you're going to tell me yes. Did you read The Secret or watch it?
Yes, I've watched it, and I'm very familiar with all of the work of it. Yes.
Okay.
Very familiar.
Because when you were saying all that, it's like, damn, I got a lot of that from watching The Secret and then reading the book, because the movie came first.
Right.
Which is strange. All right. So you ready for this?
Let's do it.
God, I hope I am. Pick a number between 1 and 50.
I'm going number 6.
Number 6. All right. Let's see what this question is. Oh, shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm telling you, Joe, this shit is weird. Remember I told you about the musician I had?
Yeah.
And the song or the number he picked, which lined up with music.
Yep.
You picked number 6, which in a way lines up with the military background and even the police department.
Okay.
What does freedom truly mean to you, and do you feel you have it?
So I'll answer the second part first. Do I have it? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. What does freedom mean to me? It is not what a lot of people believe. And I love this question. I talk about this. I say, in one word, people will sum up the United States of America as what? And people say freedom. I'm like, how much freedom do you actually have? Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, and I'm like, who lives in an HOA? And hands go up. I'm like, okay, so like leave your trash bin out front. Let's see what happens. You want to put a pool in your backyard. You need Becky's permission from 3 streets over. You never even met her. So it's like, there's so many layers of reality. I'm the police department, right? I didn't have any freedom. I couldn't have a podcast. I couldn't meet with the chief. So, and to me, freedom and autonomy go hand in hand. So do I have freedom? Unequivocally, yes. What is freedom to me? Freedom is understanding 2 things. It's that I am free to think whatever I want, and I'm free to do whatever I want, as long as I can accept and understand that everything has a consequence, positive, negative, or neutral, but everything has a consequence. You are free to do anything you want to do, as long as you're also willing to accept said consequence. And that's where I think people fall short. It's like, no, I want to do what I want, but then I also want to fight the consequence of it. No, you have to embrace both, because that's just the way life is that everything we do, because all behavior is communication, everything we do, every choice we make has some type of consequence. Again, it could be a good one. It could be a bad one. It might be a neutral one. But when you understand that, then we all have freedom, especially in this country, because you can think what you want. You want to watch Fox, watch Fox. You want to watch CNN, watch CNN. You want to not own a TV? Don't own a TV. Like, propaganda is voluntary suffering. So don't turn it on. And then pay attention to you're an aggregate of the 5 people you spend most time with. You become what you consume. Audit your social media. And again, what is the ideal life you want to live? And then create it. That to me is freedom. And because we live in a capitalist society, I think what I call the secret of life is find a hobby, turn it into a skill, and learn to monetize it. I feel like that's exactly what I do with SolutionPoint Plus. That's what you're doing with your podcast. I love speaking. I love getting to speak on stages or present training. I'm good at it, I would argue, and I get paid for it. So like, oh man, this is fun. Like, how blessed am I?
Yeah.
And sadly, too many people are working and feeling like a victim of their vocation. Or in public safety, I say you're a prisoner to your pension, and neither one of those are serving you. And so find the thing you love, become skilled at it, learn to monetize it. That's freedom.
Damn, I love that answer. I'm glad that question was on there. Joe, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for
Have fun.
everything you're doing. And the door is open anytime you want to come back.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Rich.
Semper Fi, brother.
You're fire.
Thank you for listening to the Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following: Real Life Prosthetics, cutting edge solutions, restoring ability since 2001. Go to reallifeprosthetics.com. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com.